Hello, today we're going to be looking at the ninth and final fruit of the Spirit listed in Galatians, which is self-control. And to start off with, in Proverbs 25 verse 28, it says that a man without self-control is like a city broken into and left without walls. Now that's a pretty big statement, isn't it? For someone without self-control is like a city broken into and left without walls. And I think what you can take from this passage is, if you think about it, if you didn't have any self-control, you could potentially be quite reckless, you could be quite off the rails, you could be dangerous to yourself and other people, both spiritually speaking, you could damage yourself without self-control, because you're going to be doing all sorts of things which you shouldn't be doing, which aren't going to benefit your soul. But also you're going to be dangerous to other people, aren't you? If you don't have any self-control and you kind of would just do whatever you fancy doing whenever you feel like it, you're going to be a pretty dangerous person. We all need an element of self-control in order to be healthy as human beings and to live in a kind of sustainable, fruitful, beneficial way. And oftentimes we fall into, not having strong enough self-control is when we're lured by temptations, when we're lured by the temptations of the world. Since sin has come into the world, there's these temptations out there which we all kind of want to fall into. I mean, right back at the start in the garden with Adam and Eve, they were tempted by that fruit which they were told not to eat, and they didn't have enough self-control in order to not grab it. And there's various things out there today which are temptations for us to want to take, which aren't going to be good for us. God teaches us the things which are right and which aren't good, and His Spirit leads us into the things which we know we should do and the things that we shouldn't do. And although we have all those temptations, we can take a lot of encouragement. In 1 Corinthians 10 verse 13 it says, "No temptation has overtaken you that is not common to man. God is faithful, and He will not let you be tempted beyond your ability. But with the temptation He will also provide you the way to escape, that you may be able to endure it." This passage encourages us that there is no temptation which is too great for us to, not be able to fight, to not have the self-control required, to not fall into. And if you ask God to help you, if you're feeling tempted, I think that's a really good place to start. If you're feeling tempted to do something that you shouldn't be doing, if you ask God to help, He will give you the self-control that you need to stay away from that. It could be maybe eating too much chocolate. If you're in Tesco's and you see all these kind of reduced chocolates on the shelves, and you think, I really shouldn't buy all of these kind of that I want to buy, ask God to help you, and He will help to give you the self-control you need. It could be potentially removing yourself from that situation. Sometimes we can help ourselves by taking ourselves out of situations which we know we're vulnerable in. So, if you play on your phone too much at night and you think you're up till 1 or 2 in the morning just playing games on your phone, and actually you're finding you're getting more and more tired, you're struggling at school more or at work more because you've been on your phone too much, perhaps a mechanism that could help you with that is to leave your phone downstairs and maybe buy an alarm clock instead of relying on the alarm on your phone, just to help take yourself out of that situation. Because sometimes as you think, we have self-control, and God could help you to leave your phone in your room and not go on it until 1 or 2 in the morning. But there are times you can actually help yourself by removing yourself from situations. So if a kind of temptation or something has got to you so much that your self-control, you're really struggling to have the self-control that you need, then take yourself out of a situation. But God, He can always provide you with enough self-control. And if you ask Him to, and potentially over time, if you've left your phone downstairs for a while, with time, God can definitely help you to have the self-control to leave it in your room and not be affected by it, to be on your phone until kind of 1 or 2 a.m. or whatever that might be. You might also need self-control if people are being mean to you at school or at work, and you just want to tell them, what you think of them and how nasty they are and how horrible they are and how, they don't deserve any friends or whatever that might be. And you might need self-control to tame the tongue, as it talks about in James. And again, in that situation, you might need to ask God to help you to be self-controlled if there's someone constantly being nasty, to help you to be self-controlled, to not react too much. And equally, it could be taking yourself out of a situation where you're in a conversation with someone, you're getting angry, remove yourself from that situation, walk away, actually might be the better outcome or the better decision for you in that situation, to protect you from saying something that you might not necessarily want to say. But the key to having self-control, as we said in all these videos, of all of these fruits of the Spirit, they're fruits of the Spirit because as Christians, the Spirit lives inside of you and they should naturally want to flow out of you. And the closer you are to God, the more naturally they're going to flow out of you. The closer you stay to God, the more time you spend reading your Bibles, in prayer, in worship, hanging out with other Christian brothers and sisters, the more naturally you're going to be able to kind of exercise fruits such as self-control and be more prepared in situations where you are being lured by temptation, to have the self-control required in God's strength, by the Spirit's strength, to say no to that temptation or walk away from it. So I just want to encourage stay close to God. It's so important to spend time with God and stay close to Him, because then the fruits of the Spirit are going to flow more naturally out of you. You're going to be more effective for God. And it's going to benefit your soul a whole lot more than if you're being, pulled from pillar to post by the world and pulled into situations that aren't going to be very good for you. Stay close to God, and the fruits of the Spirit will flow more naturally out of you. And the happier you'll be as a Christian, and the more fruitful you'll be for God.